Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing well, and thank you so much for joining this session, Supplier Diversity 101, an overview of Canada's LGBT Chamber of Commerce's Supplier Diversity Program. My name is Ryan Nearing. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the Manager of Membership and Supplier Diversity here with the Chamber. Now, over the course of the next 45 minutes, we'll have a bit of an overview of our Supplier Diversity Program, an in-depth look on the certification process and the history of supplier diversity in Canada. Then I'll be bringing on some supplier diversity champions who on both the certified supplier side and the corporate partner side to chat a little bit about their work in the space. And throughout the whole session, please feel free to drop any questions that you may have on the question and answer tab or the chat box tab on the right-hand side of your screen. This is just the start of 4 days of excited programming that we have for this year's 2021 Digital LGBT Plus Global Business Summit. So I'm incredibly excited that we're able to get this started off with our Supplier Diversity 101 session. I also want to begin by acknowledging that I am located in Halifax, which is in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is governed by the Treaties of Peace and Friendship, which the Maliseet and Mi'kmaq people first signed with the British Crown in 1725. These treaties, in fact, did not deal with the surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Maliseet title and established the rules for what was meant to be an ongoing relationship between nations. It is incredibly important as we chart our path forward in a journey of reconciliation that we all, and settlers in particular, recognize the land on which we find ourselves. And on behalf of the entire team, like I said, I want to welcome you to today's session. So we're going to start off by chatting a little bit about the state of LGBTQ plus entrepreneurship in Canada. In 2018, the CGLCC did a landscape study in partnership with the Nielsen Institute on the state of LGBTQ plus entrepreneurship in Canada. We'll actually be doing a refresh study, and that will be released a little later this year. But that 2018 study found a few key interesting findings. Firstly, it found that 1 in 40 businesses in Canada was owned by a member of the LGBTQ plus community. Now, we know that small businesses are the backbone of the Canadian economy. They are the shops, restaurants, and galleries that give our communities life and vibrancy. They are the manufacturers, innovators, and exporters that fuel local economies. And we now know that LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs and business owners represent a significant component of that vital group. Now, 1 in 40 businesses. That means that there are approximately 28,000 LGBTQ plus businesses in Canada. Our businesses generate about $22 billion in gross corporate revenue, or approximately 1% of Canada's total. And LGBTQ plus businesses employ about 435,000 full-time and part-time jobs. Now, keep in mind, like I said, I'm based out of Halifax. The population of this city is 400,000 people. So that means the equivalent of this entire city's population would be employed by LGBTQ plus business owners and entrepreneurs. I find that absolutely remarkable. Now, that same study found that the profile of LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs tended to be quite unique. They were more likely to be self-employed, to be younger entrepreneurs, to serve more domestic markets, and incredibly more likely to employ and work with other diverse-owned businesses. So these stats show that, LGBTQ plus business in Canada is big business. However, there are barriers that remain to preventing LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs from fully and proudly participating in the Canadian economy. That same 2018 study found that 1 in 2 LGBTQ plus business owners have purposely hid the fact that their company has LGBTQ plus ownership. 1 in 3 believe that they have lost opportunities because of the LGBTQ plus ownership of their company, and 3 in 5 said that they face discrimination again because of the LGBTQ plus ownership of their company. Now, we know that these barriers are preventing LGBTQ plus businesses from fully participating in the Canadian economy, and in turn, that is impacting Canada's economic activity. Particularly as we emerge from COVID-19, it is absolutely crucial that we have a truly inclusive recovery to avoid any unintended backslide for any underrepresented group, including women entrepreneurs, LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs, and Indigenous entrepreneurs. So with all of these stats said, Canada's LGBT plus Chamber of Commerce's Supplier Diversity Program is looking and working to remove those barriers. So in a bit of a nutshell, Canada's LGBT plus Chamber of Commerce's Supplier Diversity Program, through that program, we certify Canadian for-profit entities that are at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled by a member of the LGBT plus community as LGBT plus certified suppliers or LGBT business enterprises, LGBTBE for short. Then we connect these LGBT plus certified suppliers with corporate and government members who are actively looking to diversify their supply chains by working with more underrepresented groups. At its very core, that's what the Supplier Diversity Program is about. It is about certifying underrepresented entrepreneurs. It is about certifying LGBT plus owned businesses and then connecting those certified suppliers with government and corporate members that are looking to diversify their supply chains. Now, let's start a little bit by chatting about what exactly is supplier diversity. The supplier diversity is a strategic business process aimed at providing diverse and minority-owned businesses an equal opportunity to become suppliers to major corporations. It's an initiative made by corporations to ensure that they are truly being inclusive in their supply chain practices to suppliers of diverse backgrounds, while at the same time capitalizing on the opportunity for a competitive advantage in community engagement that comes with working with a broader range of diverse and minority-owned businesses. Now, in the exact same breath, I want to be very clear about what supplier diversity is not. Supplier diversity is neither a social program or a compromise that the participating companies will secure. It is neither a social program or a promise, rather, that participating companies will secure business from participating corporations. It is also not a compromise on the quality, cost, or service requirements that are expected of every supplier. In short, supplier diversity is not a guarantee. It is a market access opportunity. Now, CGLCC, we have been building out supplier diversity in Canada since 2012, and we officially launched our program at the LGBT Supplier Diversity Forum as a part of World Pride 2014 in Toronto. The goal of our program, like I said, is to certify and match LGBT plus certified suppliers with a growing number of corporations proactively seeking to diversify their supply chains. Now, the CGLCC is a part of a broader coalition called Supplier Diversity Alliance Canada. Supplier Diversity Alliance Canada consists of 4 organizations: WBE Canada, the Canadian Aboriginal and Minority Supplier Council, Inclusive Workplace and Supply Council of Canada. These 4 organizations collectively represent different constituencies of underrepresented and diverse-owned businesses, and each of those organizations certify Canadian for-profit entities that are at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled by a member of their respective constituencies. Again, the purpose of those supplier diversity programs is to connect diverse certified suppliers with participating corporate and government members to advance purchasing and procurement opportunities. Now, let's take a brief look at the history of supplier diversity in Canada to continue on. Now, in this country, supplier diversity is largely led by corporate Canada through organizations like EY, RBC, TD, TELUS, and Kellogg's, all of whom were founding members of Canada's LGBT plus Chamber of Commerce's Supplier Diversity Program. The Canadian Centre for Diversity and Inclusion did a 2008 research on supplier diversity. That study found that that larger organizations based in Canada, specifically in the private sector, that were either headquartered or operated in the United States, were incredibly more likely to be engaged in supplier diversity initiatives. Additionally, the same research found that organizations with an established diversity and inclusion policy or strategy, as well as those with established corporate social responsibility or sustainability mandates, were much more likely to be engaged in supplier diversity. In the same breath, that study found that only 43% of organizations with a diversity and inclusion policy were engaged in supplier diversity specifically, and only 35% of organizations listed as Canada's best diversity employers in 2015 had supplier diversity mandates. Now, contrast this scenario with Canada with, say, the United States. where supplier diversity is largely led by the government sector. Under Public Law 99-661, which was passed by the United States Congress in 1986, this required companies under contract with the federal government to source a minimum of 5% of each contract from minority-owned businesses. Now, that is where we start to see significant growth in supplier diversity efforts in the United States. That said, supplier diversity is growing here in Canada, and CGLCC alone has over 40 government and corporate members representing a broad range of purchasing areas that are looking and actively searching to work with certified suppliers. You can see a number of them here on the screen. Now, from the corporate perspective, companies that are involved and have an established supplier diversity program see numerous advantages, including increased business value. The top 5 factors for awarding contracts to diverse suppliers, again, this was from that 2018 study from the Center of Diversity and Inclusion. The top 5 benefits that participating corporates found in their supply chain was enhanced or improved cost savings, flexibility, response times, creativity and innovation, as well as higher product or service quality. So, there's a solid business case that comes for a corporation to establish and participate in a supplier diversity program. Now, let's look from the corporate perspective to the supplier perspective. Again, there's a significant business case for a business who is owned by a member of an underrepresented community to get certified and participate in the supplier diversity program. Now, in order to participate in a supplier diversity program, a business must become certified. As I mentioned before, there are a collection of certifying bodies across the country that work with underrepresented and minority entrepreneurs to get certified as certified suppliers. For CGLCC, our constituency is LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs. Through certification, supplier diversity programs provide these businesses with access and opportunities which diverse-owned businesses may face historical and systematic barriers to typically accessing. Certified businesses also gain access to corporate procurement opportunities and contracts, including, solid professional development opportunities like guidance on how to work with unique procurement processes for individual corporate members. Again, I want to emphasize supplier diversity isn't a guarantee to work with any participating corporate member, but rather a market access opportunity in an effort to reduce systematic barriers. In addition to registering with corporate members, diverse suppliers often build relationships with one another, developing partnerships and collaborating on business activities. Certification also offers unique business development opportunities for the supplier, including enhanced competitiveness, unique branding and promotional opportunities, and the knowledge that you are supporting LGBTQ plus economic development, community economic development. So we've spoken a little bit about supplier diversity broadly. Let's deep dive a little bit on how CGLCC's supplier diversity program specifically can help. For LGBT plus owned businesses, we can certify your Canadian for-profit entity that is at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled by a member of the LGBT plus community as an LGBT plus certified supplier, again, opening up significant market access opportunities. We also provide onboarding training and regular professional development sessions on maximizing your certification. We work to connect LGBT plus certified suppliers with corporate and government members and direct and assist LGBT plus certified suppliers on how to register to and access the unique procurement processes for certain corporate members. And we promote LGBT plus certified suppliers at every opportunity. In fact, over the course of the 4 days of this summit, you'll see a number of our certified suppliers be featured and lead panel discussions and share their thought leadership. I'll also note that there are those regular opportunities for certified suppliers of any certifying organization to connect with corporate members. Very tangibly, as a part of this year's Global Business Summit, certified suppliers who have registered in advance will be participating in one-on-one matchmaking between certified suppliers from any certifying council and corporate members. Again, this is an opportunity to do a 10-minute pitch in front of North America's leading corporations and an opportunity to really position your business for success. Now, from the corporate side, For corporations and government bodies that are looking to diversify their supply chains, we can connect you with innovative LGBT+ certified suppliers that can competitively complete your purchasing needs. We also assist in developing, growing, and maintaining a supplier diversity program, from those who are taking the first steps in the activity to those who are founding members of our own supplier diversity program. And for more information on this, we invite you to take part in the corporate stream supplier diversity workshops that will be taking place on Tuesday and Wednesday as a part of the summit. Again, all of those sessions can be found on the right-hand side of your screen. We will have streamlined programming specifically for corporations that are exploring how to launch or expand their supplier diversity efforts. So I'd encourage you to check those out. And then lastly, one of the pieces of support that we work to provide our corporate members is providing information sessions on the state of LGBTQ+ entrepreneurship in Canada and the accompanying market access opportunities that come with that. So a few takeaways from today's session that I'm hoping folks will be able to walk away with. If you are a diverse supplier, please contact Canada's LGBT+ Chamber of Commerce or any of your certifying organizations to explore and start the conversation about getting certified. If you are an LGBT+ certified supplier already and already a part of the family, make sure that you're exploring ways to maximizing your certification. This includes doing things like participating in matchmaking opportunities and roundtable discussions, requesting introductions with any corporate or government member of your respective network, and incorporating your certification as part of your corporation's brand identity. And if you have an established supply chain program, discuss how to build your own supplier diversity program. Again, a lot of these initiatives are built on very strong diversity and inclusion or corporate social responsibility best practices. Supplier diversity is a really solid way to put actions and economic activity towards addressing diversity and inclusion. Like I said before, for those who are looking to get more information on how to launch or expand their supplier diversity programs, make sure you check out our corporate stream sessions that are taking place tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow, we will have Ralph Moore from our GMA Consulting based in the United States, who will lead a very targeted workshop session on launching and expanding a supplier diversity program and provide top-notch, cutting-edge thought leadership on matters. So all in all, wherever you are on your entrepreneurial journey, Canada's LGBT+ Chamber of Commerce is here to help. We know that this last year has been incredibly challenging for all entrepreneurs of all sectors in all parts of this country. But we also know that entrepreneurs are resilient. We also know that small business owners are adaptive, and we also know that Canadians are innovative. I think entrepreneurs are always looking to add tools to their toolbox, right? They're always exploring ways to build up those resources that they can draw upon to grow their business, to gain new market access opportunities, to launch new products and services. And I strongly believe that supplier diversity is another tool to have in that toolbox. It is a solid way to differentiate your business from competitors, and it is a solid way to get market access opportunities to Canada's leading corporations, while at the same time being able to proudly live and proudly identify your business as an LGBT+ certified supplier. So with that said, that concludes a very short presentation that we have today, because I wanted to save a good chunk of this time for a panelist session. And I'm very excited to be bringing in two leaders from our Supplier Diversity Program, Kaylee from Nona Vegan Foods and Celso from Staples Promotional Products. So Kaylee and Celso, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for having us.
So I think we'll get things started off by doing a brief round of introductions. So I'm hoping you can introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your business and organization, and then touch a little bit on your connection to supplier diversity broadly. And Kaylee, maybe I'll start with you.
Sounds good. So my name's Kaylee Gilchrist. I am the sauce boss and CEO of Nona Vegan Foods. I make a line of plant-based cream sauces, and I am a certified diverse supplier with the CGLCC. Woo woo. And it's great.
We love having you a part of the gang. We love having you a part of the gang. And Celso, I'll throw it over to you.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm Celso Afonseca with Staples Promotional Products. I'm the manager of account services and program operations here. We work with partners to execute branding and marketing solutions for some of the more established brands in Canada, from managing online stores to supporting rewards and recognition programs, various other experiences, including live events, which we hope to get back to here real soon. So I've been a part of Supplier Diversity for about 3 years with our organization. We've been involved for a total of about 7 years, and really excited to be a part of the panel today and speak with some of the suppliers.
Well, we're very grateful to have both of your leadership and insight and expertise, and also very excited to one day soon going back to in-person events. This is our second summit where we're completely online, and I think we're all looking forward to the day that we can get together in person, or at least in some hybrid, to make sure that we're really engaging folks from across the country. So a reminder to our audience, please feel free to drop any questions that you have in the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. I have that tab open here, so can direct any questions towards our panelists or any questions that I may be able to address myself. But Kaylee, the first question that I have for you is this. So you've been involved with the Chamber for quite a while. You started with the Out for Business program. Folks who attended our last session, all about CGLCC, heard Paige talk about the Out for Business program. You've also been very active in your global operations as well, in using some of the resources through CGLCC's global program to help expand your presence into the United States. My question to you is, can you tell us a little bit about how your certification has helped Nona Vegan Foods and how you are now giving back to the supplier community?
Yes, for sure. I guess it has been, I've been with the CGLCC for a while now. 2019, I did the program. I also did a trade mission to Tampa to the NGLCC conference pre-COVID, which was phenomenal. And I think that was where I first got a taste of what the supplier diversity, could really do. Prior to that, it was so incredible to have the community and the resources, and everyone at the CGLCC is so lovely and helpful and, always trying to connect me with people, and it's fantastic. And then when I was in Tampa, I got all these matchmaking sessions with, corporate buyers. It's really cool, folks. Like it's pretty awesome. The opportunities that you get to sit down with people who you could only really dream of getting into those stores or meeting with those folks. So it's really incredible in that way. And then, I've been working on exporting to the States, as you said, and a lot of, especially in the States, in my industry, in the food industry, it's getting to Canada, supplier diversity mandates and stuff, but in the States, it's quite developed. And so a lot of the distribution partners and the retail partners I've been speaking to, it's part of their onboarding, like, oh, and do you have a diverse certification? What is it? And they offer extra, support with trade publications and just marketing support, stuff like that, which is really fantastic. And I'm just so grateful for that. And then, the CGLCC, the resources you all offer, the connections you make for me, I'm ever grateful for all of that. And then your workshops, I didn't know what a capability statement was before the CGLCC, and now I've got a great one. I've done a couple of your workshops on that, so thank you for that.
Awesome. And I think the point that you just mentioned there, how in the United States, identifying certified suppliers and diverse suppliers is incorporated on almost like that onboarding. And it goes to show how it's honestly a tool that could be in your back pocket, right? On top of everything else, on top of, a high quality product that you're offering, on top of service performance, on top of all of these factors that, make you the best candidate for bids and RFPs and contracts. That certification is just another thing to have in your back pocket.
Totally. Yeah. Because it can't be the only thing, it's not going to get you all the way, but it's a nice foot in the door for folks who have not had that privilege of having those warm introductions. And, historically it's not been so easy. So it's really great for that. And then, still got to deliver on your promises and be a good business.
Yeah. And Celso, my question for you is, Staples Promotional Products is not only a corporate member with the CGLCC, but with the other Supplier Diversity Alliance Canada councils. To Kaylee's earlier point, including that certification into a proposal or a bid or an RFP that a certified supplier is putting forward is one component of the package, but it's not the whole thing. As somebody who is constantly working with certified suppliers from across the councils, what are some of your tips and tricks on how certified suppliers can incorporate or maximize their certification, again, to enhance their competitiveness when responding to these bids?
Sure. So for me, I'm in a position where we have a network of quite literally hundreds of suppliers, and so when you've got a diverse supplier who comes along and maybe hasn't been around for as long as some of those suppliers have been, they seem to find that they're at a disadvantage when in fact a lot of our partners who we're working with on a regular basis, they've prioritized supplier diversity in such a way that they're looking to us to increase that spend for them and help them support some of these smaller businesses. And so oftentimes, even when pricing might be a little higher than a more established supplier or somebody who's a little more global, our customers are actually willing to spend a bit more and support that business. And I think that's something that some of the suppliers that are coming in don't always appreciate is how much they're actually valued in the overall supply chain. A couple of other things that I would mention is making sure that you're fully aware of your audience when you're pitching. Understand exactly what it is they're trying to solve for. Understand what it is they do. And speaking selfishly, being part of the Staples family, oftentimes I'm meeting with suppliers who are expecting to meet with Staples retail, which I completely understand where some of that confusion might come from. Obviously, the brand is global, but understanding what it is that our part of the business does and what it is we're really trying to solve for is important, because that's where you're going to start the conversation, right? This is how you and I are going to work together. The other thing I would mention is in speaking with a lot of my counterparts with other corporate members, understanding that it's a process. I mentioned earlier that we're dealing with hundreds of suppliers in some cases. Understand that it's going to take a little while to A, get signed up, B, ramp up and get ongoing business. It's something that the suppliers need to be aware of. It's not that people don't see them as a priority. We absolutely do. But setting those expectations, and I like to set those expectations with suppliers early on and just make sure they're aware that there is a bit of a process involved, but there's a real advantage to it, and sticking through it and going ahead with that process. There's a lot of value in that.
Absolutely. And I think, you kind of hit the nail on the head there in that part of the participation in these supplier diversity programs is the professional growth and the professional development of businesses and of certified suppliers. I give huge kudos to Staples Promotional Products for investing in that. Earlier this year, you participated in a roundtable discussion with some of our certified suppliers, working on developing their pitches. We have a number of our corporate members who regularly invest in the supplier development of our members, including EY. Every year they host a virtual pitch competition. Kaylee, I know you were the winner of last year's pitch competition. Perfect example of, the corporate members that we have as a part of our organization investing in the development of our suppliers. But also to your point, Celso, is that it's a relationship building exercise as well. And particularly, I imagine folks in your positions, folks in purchasing or procurement positions, you may not immediately and always have a need for the product or service that a supplier is offering, but very well one day there could be. But the only way that suppliers are going to get involved is by constantly showing up and doing their research and not just thinking, okay, I only met with them once, it wasn't a good fit, I'll write this off. That's not maximizing your certification.
Yeah, and there's a real networking aspect to it as well. As we're again, speaking for myself and with Staples Promotional Products, we're working with so many partners on a day-to-day basis. And there's no telling what those conversations are going to lead to and what people are looking for and what they're trying to solve for. It doesn't mean that that supplier is necessarily going to go through us, but maybe we'll make an introduction.
Yeah.
I can tell you the number of different ways we've gotten creative with diverse suppliers in the past couple of years to really incorporate them into the supply chain and into the conversations with our customers. So the networking aspect is a real game changer here as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and particularly in this virtual world, it just reduces so many of those barriers. Kaylee, looking at the chat here, and there are a lot of Nona Vegan fans out there, a lot of folks who are praising your delicious products, and I am absolutely one of those. I have two questions for you, more on the fun side of things. One is, what's next for Nona Vegan? What's kind of in the 1-year game plan, 5-year game plan? I know that you always have something in your back pocket. And then if I go to my local superstore here and I only have enough change in my back pocket for one sauce, what one should I get?
Ooh, I'll start with that one and say Alfredo.
Classic.
Yeah, classic, fan favorite. Carbonara if you like bacon. I mean, cheesy too. Well, that's okay. I thought that was I was like, I'll do the easy question first, and then I love all my babies.
Yeah, that's it.
All my babies. Yes. And now I forget your first question.
The more serious one. What's kind of next for you? What's next for Nona?
Yes. And I also wanted to note when you were talking about the pitch competition, I just last Friday completed my 2 weeks of executive training at Dartmouth that Excellent. I won from EY. And so, oh my gosh, my head is spinning with
a lot of content.
Ivy League education. I'm just like, wow. So a lot is coming next because I just did 2 weeks of very intense and fantastic schooling. So yeah, we've got new flavors coming finally. It's been years. So new flavors are coming in the fall, and then we're really focused on our US export. So hopefully getting into some brick and mortar locations.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Now, and on the Dartmouth College program, and like I mentioned for our audience members on our previous call, every year, EY Ernst & Young sponsors a pitch competition for certified suppliers to participate in. The finale for the 2021 pitch competition is taking place this Thursday morning. Again, check out the sessions tab for that. 4 awesome suppliers that have been perfecting their pitches over the course of the year. I know I don't know which side it is. Make sure you check out that. Kayla, I'm interested to know, in that program, which was the grand prize for last year's pitch competition, were there any kind of best practices that they shared on maximizing a certification specifically, or kind of incorporating that into your business operations?
For sure. Just generally, they really encourage folks to get certified and use it, and not to, I've had people in my life who are like, Kaylee, old mentors who are like, yeah, you're gay. No one cares. Just sell sauce. But these professors were like, people care, talk about it, put it out there, say it. And then one of the final days, maybe the penultimate day, they had a corporate sponsor come in and actually say, here's what I'm looking for. When you go through my website and when you send me a thing, this is what I want in a capability statement. And that was really helpful as well.
I think that just goes to show, a lot of the unique branding opportunities that come with getting certified as well. We have folks incorporated on their websites, social media platforms, emails, as well as on physical products. You can walk through the grocery store and see CGLCC certified suppliers on the shelves, WBE certified suppliers, CANSI, IWSCC, or WE Connectors, CCAB. And it's very similar to, when folks look for B Corp organizations or, sustainability organizations. It's a very tangible way to know that you're working towards and contributing towards diversity and inclusion efforts, corporate social responsibility efforts, while at the same time purchasing a really awesome product or service.
Mm-hmm. and websites, Ryan. Update your websites if you've got certification. Make sure you're posting that on your website somewhere, because I can't tell you how many suppliers we've got where in the back of my head, I think I'm pretty sure this is a diverse supplier, but let me just double check. And I go on their site and it's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Make sure you're promoting it. Make sure people know that you're a diverse supplier, because it means something to people.
Absolutely. Celso, my next question for you is, you, like I mentioned, involved in a number of certifying councils, working with a lot of suppliers. I'm wondering if anecdotally you have a story of a really awesome supplier or a really cool kind of success story. One example is a supplier that of ours that you work with is Patrick Hunter, an incredible Indigenous artist from Ontario. I'm wondering if you can share some of those insights.
Yeah, you stole my example. Patrick's actually a really great example of not only working a little differently with a diverse supplier, but finding a way to be creative. One of the things that, again, our partners are expecting from us is creativity and thinking outside the box, and how are we going to engage our employees and our customers a little differently. And when, I'd say 3-4 years ago, if I'd met Patrick, I would have said, well, I don't know how an artist is going to fit into promotional products. And all of a sudden, Patrick comes up with a couple of cool designs, and we present it to a couple of our partners. They build campaigns around it. There's all sorts of just incredible response to it. So it doesn't have to be, you're selling us a drinkware piece or a pen or a sweatshirt. It could be that you're designing something that's just really cool and people are really going to connect with, and we can put it on the products. And for me, that's probably the best example of us thinking a little outside the box, supporting a diverse supplier, having that supplier engage with us. That's obviously a key part of it. But that's the best example I can think of just really taking it to the next level and finding a way to make it work and really seeing great results from it.
Absolutely. I was looking up to the side here because I'm not a hockey guy myself. I'm still, it takes me by surprise every year that it's June and the NHL state playoffs are still taking place. But Patrick Hunter from Ontario also recently had one of his pieces featured in the center ice at a Chicago Blackhawks game. Again, just a really cool story of CGLCC certified supplier, also a CAMC certified supplier, and those conversations where they could just grow and head in so many places that you don't even expect.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what I was looking up was the name of the Chicago hockey team. Truthfully, I didn't know what it was called. We're coming up on time here. And my last question to the two of you is, we have over 800 attendees that are registered over this 4-day summit. Our intention is not only to provide, thought leadership like this panel discussion here, but also networking opportunities and business growth opportunities. What would be, say in a sentence or so, the one piece of advice you would give to attendees on how to make the most out of these next 4 days? Kaylee, maybe I'll start with you.
Probably what I say to anyone about any event is that you get out what you put in. So if you want to go for it, if you want to, message those corporates, like message people, network with people, find out who knows who, like go to all the sessions, get involved, get certified, and yeah, make the most of it by putting yourself into it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, totally makes sense. And Celso, what about you?
I'll start with something that any diverse supplier is probably tired of hearing. Certification is not a free pass. I know. I know this gets repeated over and over again. It's an important point. I don't want it to come across as people are not open to working with those suppliers, but there is, to Kaylee's point, you get what you put in, right? Yeah. So that's a big part of it. We've talked about the capability statements and really pleading your case and really knowing that audience and knowing what they're trying to solve for. But the last thing, because I want the diverse suppliers who are listening to this to really appreciate this coming from someone who does work with so many suppliers. Be confident, because your chances are you are more competitive than you realize in terms of the business that you're bidding on and the customers that you're speaking with. you are probably a lot more competitive than you realize. So be confident in what you're doing. You've got a good product, and people are going to need it. It's a matter of finding the right matches. So go in there with confidence.
Appreciate the insight from both of you. Thank you very much for lending us your time today. We're incredibly grateful to have you as a part of the CGLCC family.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
So folks, we're just wrapping up our session now, and I want to plug a few upcoming bits that were specifically related to our Supplier Diversity Program. Like I mentioned, tomorrow is the start of 4 workshop sessions that we're having for corporate members that are looking to launch or expand their supplier diversity efforts. Tomorrow, you'll be hearing from Ralph Moore, who is with RGMA, a consulting firm based in the United States. You'll also hear from Deborah Quade with Kellogg, a leader in the supplier diversity space all across North America, and very lucky to have her as a strong advocate for CGLCC's Supplier Diversity Program. And then on the supplier side, we'll offer a number of pieces of programming on how to advance your business, on how to enhance professional development opportunities, including Business Operations 101, which will be taking place tomorrow, as well as targeted workshops on export, both for Canadian companies looking to export abroad and international companies looking to establish a presence in Canada. But up next, make sure you join my colleague, Leah McCormick, for a very exciting announcement. We will be launching our Rainbow Registered program. Click over to the next tab, the Rainbow Registered program launch on the right-hand side of your screen. That will be getting started at about 4:15 Eastern, 5:15 for those like myself based in Atlanta, Canada. A lot of work has gone into this program. It is an incredible market access. It's an incredible branding opportunity. It's an incredible business opportunity for any customer-facing business, tourist destination, or organization, both in the for-profit and not-for-profit space. Make sure you check that out. You don't want to miss it. Thank you all so much for joining us today.